right, beautiful people. So today we're talking about angle relationships, just the beginning of them. So how do different pairs of angles relate to each other? So we're going to start by actually drawing a nice 2x2 grid, because there are 4 angle relationships we're going to talk about today. Okay, so the first one are complementary angles. Complementary. And these are angle relationships that you may have heard of before. And complementary angles are 2 angles that add up to 90 degrees. They don't have to be touching. They don't have to share the same vertex. But for my example diagram, I did draw them sharing the same vertex. I am going to write that they don't have to share. Don't have to share a vertex. Okay. The second one are supplementary angles. And supplementary angles are angles that sum to 180 degrees. Similarly to the last one, they don't have to share the same vertex. Something else that should be noted about supplementary and complementary angles is that they can consist of 2 or more angles. Can be 2 or more angles. So you might have 3 angles that sum to 90 degrees. They're all complementary angles. You might have 3 angles that sum to supplementary angles, then together they're supplementary angles. Okay. The second set of types of angles are linear pairs. Okay, and a linear pair are 2 pairs that create a line. Create a line, which means that they sum to 180 degrees. Now this one, they do have to share a vertex. They have to share that vertex. I'm going to put an exclamation mark. Must share a vertex. Okay. So the only difference between a linear pair and a supplementary set of angles is that the linear pair has to share a vertex. So sometimes you'll have supplementary angles that are also linear pairs. Okay. And then the last one is vertical angles. Vertical. And vertical angles are basically like opposite angles with a shared vertex. For example, this angle and this angle, A and B. Share actually opposite angles that share a vertex. And the special thing about them is that they are congruent. So angle A is going to be equal to angle B when you have vertical angles. In this diagram, there's a second set of vertical angles. This set over here, let's call them C and D. They are also vertical angles and they're also congruent. So they share a vertex, that spot in the middle, and they're opposite each other. Okay. All right. The special thing about linear pairs and vertical angles are that they must be adjacent. Adjacent. Okay. And adjacent angles are angles that are next to each other. So like 2 angles that share a vertex. Doesn't matter if they sum to anything. They're adjacent to each other. Share a vertex and are next to each other. Okay, so linear pairs are adjacent. Vertical angles are not adjacent because they share a vertex, but they're not directly next to each other. But supplementary and complementary angles can be. So linear